There is a people in Africa who hunt using only bows and arrows. No rifles, no traps, no vehicles. They go up against animals weighing over 3 tons. Animals that kill more than 500 people a year on the continent. Animals that can snap a 3-meter crocodile in half with a single bite. This is the reality of the Hadzabes. And the animal you are about to meet is the African hippopotamus, the deadliest large land mammal on Earth when it comes to humans. Welcome to the most dangerous hunt ever recorded on the plains of Tanzania. The sun has not yet risen. The sky is painted in colors between purple and orange. The air is dry and hot even before dawn. We are in the Rift Valley in northern Tanzania. This is where Lake Eyasi sits. A shallow salt lake stretching over 1,000 square kilometers. When it rains, it overflows and attracts enormous animals from the Serengeti. When drought arrives, it nearly disappears. And what remains are shallow pools fought over by everything that breathes. This is the setting where the Hadzabes live, one of the last hunter-gatherer peoples on the planet. There are about 1,300 of them in total, but only 300 still live in the traditional way. No farming, no livestock, no money, no electricity. Just the bow, the arrow, and knowledge passed down from generation to generation for over 50,000 years. But wait, there is something nobody tells you about this place. Lake Eyasi is not just a lake. It is a natural trap. When heavy rains come, especially during El Niño years, the water rises fast. And along with the water come the hippos. They come from the Serengeti. They walk dozens of kilometers until they find the brackish waters of Eyasi. And when they arrive, they take over everything. Every pool, every bank, every centimeter of water becomes their territory. And the Hadzabes, who depend on those same banks to drink, to fish, to survive, find themselves face to face with the most lethal animal in Africa. The African hippopotamus is the 3rd largest land mammal on the planet. It is surpassed only by the elephant and the rhinoceros. An adult male can weigh 3,200 kilograms. That is the equivalent of 3 compact cars. Its body reaches 5 meters in length. The height at the shoulder reaches 1.5 meters. The skin is about 5 centimeters thick. A natural armor that no ordinary arrow can pierce. But the most terrifying thing is not the size, it is the speed. In water, it moves by pushing off the bottom with its feet. On dry land, it can run at 30 kilometers per hour, faster than any human being. And there is more. A hippopotamus jaw can open to nearly 180 degrees. The lower canines reach up to 50 centimeters in length. The bite force exceeds 800 kilograms per square centimeter. That is enough to crush human bones as if they were twigs. There is a documented account of a hippopotamus snapping a 3-meter crocodile in half with a single bite. It is not a carnivore. It feeds on grass and vegetation, but it is extremely territorial, and it kills anything that enters its space. Anything. The hippopotamus is responsible for more human deaths in Africa than lions, leopards, and buffalo combined. The probability of surviving a hippo attack is only 13%. Now think about what it means to face this animal without a firearm. Without a vehicle to escape in, without a single barrier between you and 3 tons of fury. This is exactly what the Hadzabes do. Pay close attention to this part. The Hadzabes bow is not a toy. It is a hunting weapon handcrafted from the wood of specific tree species. The preferred species is Dombea kirki, known as the river wild pear. The wood is cut, heated over embers, and shaped in the crook of a tree until it reaches the ideal form. The draw force of these bows reaches 140 kilograms. That is the equivalent of 70% of an adult Hadzabes man's body weight. The arrow velocity upon release exceeds 45 meters per second. It is a lethal projectile. Scientific studies conducted by researchers at Duke University measured these values using high-speed cameras. The results stunned the academic world. Hadzabes bows are as efficient as modern competition bows. The energy transfer from bow to arrow reaches 70%, the same as the best laboratory manufactured equipment. But against a hippopotamus, the arrow alone is not enough. And this is where it gets interesting. The Hadzabes use poison, 3 different types of poison extracted from local plants. The most common is called panjuco. It comes from the desert rose, a plant known scientifically as Adenium obesum. It grows in only a few places within Hadzabes territory. The main collection point is on an island on the southeastern shore of Lake Ayasi. The men travel there specifically to harvest the raw material. The preparation process is meticulous. The sap is extracted from branches and roots. Then it is boiled in a clay pot, the only cooking utensil that many families own. The liquid reduces until it becomes a black, viscous residue. This residue is beaten, cut into strips, and wound behind the arrowhead. When the arrow enters the animal's bloodstream, the cardiac glycosides go to work. The animal's heart begins to slow down. Blood pressure drops. The legs weaken. The animal staggers. And after some time, it collapses. This poison is powerful enough to bring down a giraffe. There are accounts that similar formulations used by other African peoples can kill even elephants. But the hippopotamus is different. The 5-centimeter thick skin functions as armor. The arrow must strike specific points where the skin is thinner. Behind the ear, in the neck area just below the jaw, in the belly when the animal exposes it while leaving the water. Any other spot and the arrow simply does not penetrate deep enough. Now comes the part that few people know. The Hadzabes do not hunt the hippopotamus on impulse. It is a planned operation that can last for days. First, scouts go out at dawn to track. They read the terrain like an open book. Footprints in the mud indicate the animal's size. The depth reveals its weight. The direction shows where it is heading. Torn grass shows where it fed during the night. Hippos graze at night and return to the water at dawn. The Hadzabes know this, and they use this behavior against it. The ambush is the primary technique. The hunters position themselves before dawn on the path the hippo uses to return to the water. These are trails carved into the ground by the animal's weight over weeks. The hippo always takes the same path, always. And the Hadzabes hide among rocks and bushes along this route, in absolute silence. The slightest noise and the hippo changes course or launches an attack. The shooting stance of the Hadzabes is unique in the world. They keep both legs pressed tightly together. The bundle of arrows is held clamped between the thighs with the tips pointing forward. Aiming is done along the entire length of the arrow with no anchor point on the face. This method is called gap shooting. It requires years of practice. Hadzabes boys begin training with makeshift bows from the age of 3. By 10, they are already responsible for bringing protein to the family. Imagine the moment of the shot. The hippo appears on the trail. 3 tons of muscle and bone moving just meters away. The ground trembles. The sound of hooves on dry earth echoes across the valley. The hunter holds his breath, adjusts his aim, draws the string with 70% of his body weight, and releases. The arrow cuts through the air at more than 45 meters per second. It strikes the side of the hippo's neck just below the ear. The poisoned tip penetrates beyond the thick layer of skin and reaches the bloodstream. The animal roars. The sound is deafening, a deep bellow that can reach 115 decibels, louder than a rock concert. The hippo swings its body trying to locate the attacker. The jaw opens wide, exposing the enormous canines. This is the most dangerous moment. If the animal spots the hunter, there is no escape. But this is only the beginning. The poison does not act instantly on an animal of this size. In medium-sized antelopes, such as impalas and kudus, the effect is rapid. The animal falls within minutes. In larger animals such as buffalo and zebras, it can take hours. In the hippopotamus, the process is even longer. The hunters must track the wounded animal for an extended period. Following the blood trail, observing its behavior, waiting for the cardiac glycosides to do their work. It is a tense wait, because a wounded hippopotamus is even more dangerous than a healthy one. Pain makes it unpredictable. It can attack anything that moves. The Hadzabes are in no hurry. They know that time is on their side. The poison is relentless. Every minute that passes, the animal's heart pumps a little slower, the legs grow heavier, the movements become sluggish. It is a marathon of patience against brute force, and when the animal finally falls, another journey begins. Pay attention now, because what comes next reveals a great deal about who the Hadzabes truly are. An adult hippopotamus can provide enough meat to feed an entire group for weeks. And the Hadzabes waste nothing, absolutely nothing. When the animal is on the ground, the news spreads quickly. Other members of the group arrive. The entire camp relocates to the kill site. This is an ancestral practice. If the prey is too large to carry, the people go to it. The Hadzabes move camp an average of 6 times a year, and a hunt like this can be the reason for the next move. The butchering process begins immediately. There is no refrigeration. There are no preservatives. In the temperatures of the Rift Valley, which can exceed 35 degrees in the shade, every hour counts. The men use handmade knives and the single axe shared by the entire group to open the animal. It is heavy work. The hippo's skin is so thick that the blades need to be sharpened multiple times during the process. The fat is dense and abundant. The meat is thick and dark. The internal organs are removed with care. Nothing is discarded. But wait, there is something nobody tells you about how they cook. The Hadzabes cooking style is the oldest in human history. There is no grill. There is no pan for the meat. There is no seasoning. The meat is placed directly on the flames. Directly, without a single barrier between the fire and the food. The fire is made using the most primitive method in existence. 2 pieces of wood, one thin and pointed, the other flat as a base. The thin piece is spun rapidly between the palms of the hands while pressing against the base. Friction generates heat. Heat generates embers. Embers ignite dry straw, and dry straw ignites the firewood. The entire process takes less than 2 minutes in the hands of an experienced Hadzabes. It is a skill that most of us could never replicate. The hippo meat is laid in large pieces directly on the fire. The fat melts and drips onto the coals, creating flames that sear the surface rapidly. The outside becomes charred, while the inside remains juicy. When a piece is ready, anyone can grab it. The Hadzabes meal is not an organized event. It is a communal frenzy. People crowd around the fire. They slice pieces with short knives. They tear chunks with their teeth. They push and shove around the flames. No matter how packed it is, there is always room for one more. Even if it means sitting on someone's lap. No one speaks during the meal. The only sounds are the smacking of lips and the tearing of meat. Bones are smashed with rocks, and the marrow is sucked out to the last drop. Leftover fat is rubbed onto the skin as a natural moisturizer, and there is more. The stomach and intestines of the hippo are washed and prepared separately. The viscera are roasted over lower coals for a longer time. The liver, rich in nutrients, is considered one of the most valuable parts. It is offered first to the hunters who participated in the kill. This is the rule of the Hadzabes. Those who hunted eat the best pieces first. But everything is shared. This is the principle that has sustained Hadzabes society for millennia. There are no chiefs. There is no hierarchy. Decisions are made by consensus, and the food belongs to everyone. A hippopotamus hunt can yield more than 1,000 kilograms of usable meat. The animal's fat is especially valued during the dry months, when energy is most needed and food sources are scarce. The skin can be used for ropes and garments. The bones serve as tools. The strongest tendons were historically used to make bowstrings. In the past, tendons from buffalo and other large animals were preferred for this purpose. Now that you understand this, let us move on to something even more remarkable. The relationship the Hadzabes have with their surrounding environment goes far beyond the hunt. They know every centimeter of the territory they occupy. They know the name of every tree. They know which roots can be eaten and which are poisonous. They know where to find water even when the lake dries up completely. And they know exactly when the hippos will arrive and when they will leave. Lake Eyasi is an endorheic lake. This means it has no outlet to the sea. Water enters through rivers and streams but never leaves. It evaporates, and with evaporation, the minerals concentrate. The water becomes increasingly salty. That is why in dry years, the lake virtually disappears. All that remains are crusts of white salt gleaming under the sun. The Datuga, who are herders living in the Yaeda Valley region to the southeast, cross the dry lake bed on foot. The Hadzabes do the same. But when the rains return, everything changes. The lake fills up. The hippos arrive from the Serengeti. Flamingos land by the thousands, and the desolate landscape transforms into a pulsing ecosystem teeming with life. This transformation happens every year, and the Hadzabes read these cycles the way we read a calendar. The truth is more complex than it seems. The Hadzabes are not a primitive people frozen in time. They are a people who chose to live this way. Every attempt to settle them has failed. The British tried during the colonial period after the First World War. They wanted to convert them to Christianity, make them farm the land, abandon hunting. It did not work. The government of Tanzania tried on multiple occasions. It did not work either. Missionaries, international organizations, development projects. None convinced the Hadzabes to trade the bow for the hoe. And this reveals something profound about human nature. While the modern world chases productivity and accumulation, the Hadzabes operate on a different principle. They consume what they need. When they want fruit, they walk to a fruit tree. When they want honey, they climb a 15-meter baobab using only their hands and feet. When they want meat, they go out to hunt. They do not stockpile. They do not preserve. They do not accumulate. Nature is their storehouse, and the bow is the key. A study conducted by Duke University revealed something surprising about the Hadzabes. Despite being far more physically active than sedentary individuals in industrialized nations, the total caloric expenditure of the Hadzabes is virtually the same. This challenged everything science believed about exercise and metabolism. The human body, it turns out, has a fixed energy budget. Spend more on physical activity, spend less on other functions. The Hadzabes simply distribute that energy differently. Their diet also defies expectations. It is not based solely on meat, as many imagine. The majority of their nutrition comes from plants, tubers rich in resistant starch, baobab fruit, which contains more vitamin C than almost any other fruit, and honey. Honey accounts for about 15% of consumed calories. It is the Hadzabes' favorite food. Valued even more than meat, the men climb enormous trees to reach wild hives. They use smoke to calm the bees, and they eat the entire comb, including the larvae and wax. 1 kilogram of honey provides 3,600 calories. It is the perfect energy bomb for those who walk dozens of kilometers a day. But when a hippopotamus is taken down, everything stops. The meat is the event. The camp reorganizes around the animal. The fire burns day and night. People eat in shifts. The men prepare the meat while the women continue gathering tubers and fruit nearby. The children watch and learn. Every hunt is a living lesson. Every cut on the animal is an anatomy class. Every decision about how to distribute the food is a lesson in society. The language they speak while doing all of this is unique in the world. Hadzan has no kinship with any other known language. It is considered a language isolate, a language that evolved independently from all others. It includes click and popping sounds that few non-Hadzabes can reproduce. It has no writing system. It exists only in oral form. And within it, There are dozens of different words to describe animals killed during a hunt. Each type of death, each type of prey has a specific name. This happens for real, every single day, in the heart of Africa. But the Hadzabes face a threat that no bow can stop. Over the past 50 years, they have lost more than 70% of their traditional territory. The Datuga expanded their pasture lands to the east. Iraqw farmers cleared enormous areas to plant onions in the Bahre River region, which became the largest onion-growing zone in East Africa. Neighboring livestock scares off the game. Deforestation destroys the fruit trees and the beehives. The shallow water sources the Hadzabes have used for millennia dry up when cattle herds drink first. Today, most Hadzabes can no longer sustain themselves solely through hunting and gathering. Many have come to depend on ugali, a cornmeal porridge, as a supplementary food. Others have become tourist attractions. Guides bring visitors to hunt with the Hadzabes, on experiences lasting a few hours that barely scratch the surface of a 50,000-year-old culture. Some Hadzabes camps near the town of Mangola are set up specifically for tourists. Hunting dogs that were never part of the original tradition now appear in videos. Noisy groups of men running in baboon skins are staged performances that have nothing to do with the real technique of silent ambush that defines authentic Hadzabes hunting. And this is where the hippopotamus hunt takes on a greater meaning. Every time the Hadzabes face a hippopotamus on the shores of Lake Eyasi, it is not merely a matter of food, it is a declaration of existence. It is proof that a way of life more than 50,000 years old still works. That knowledge passed from father to son, from mother to daughter, around fires lit by friction, can still feed an entire community. That the handmade bow and the arrow poisoned with desert rose sap can still bring down the most dangerous animal in Africa. The hippo's skin is cut into strips that dry in the sun and are used as building and repair material. The fat is consumed over the course of days. The larger bones are broken and used as tools for digging or as supports in temporary shelters made of dry branches and grass. Nothing is wasted. Every part of the animal has a purpose. Every piece of meat has a recipient. And every hunt reinforces the bonds that hold the group together. The sun sets once more over Lake Eyasi. The same purple and orange colors paint the sky. Smoke from the campfires rises between the acacias and the baobabs. The Hadzabes eat together in silence around the fire. The same gestures, the same ritual. Tomorrow before dawn, someone will take up the bow again. Will harden their gaze toward the horizon. Will read the footprints in the dry mud. And will decide whether today is the day to chase a dik-dik among the rocks or to face something far larger at the water's edge. The bow is ready. The poison is applied. And courage does not need to be invented. It is born with every Hadzabes child from the very first day of life. Some ways of existing need no explanation, only respect and the space to keep on existing.